Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the newest developments in the story of Hoai Ca and Officer Hung. Lately, it seemed like Hoai Ca and Hung were finally getting a bit of peace after everything they've been through. But in reality, a quiet storm has been growing behind the scenes slowly, steadily, and dangerously. Hung's mother, the one who once caused them so much pain, has begun appearing again. She hasn't just tried to buy back the old house. She's been secretly watching their daily life. From their trips to the market, to when they clean the garden, even the smallest moments between the two. Outwardly, she appears gentle, regretful. When she ran into Mother Ha, she even broke down in tears, claiming she wanted to start over, that she truly regretted everything she had done. But are those words sincere? Or are they just a cover, hiding something darker, waiting for the right moment to strike? In today's episode, you'll see details we've never looked at closely before, especially Hung's mother's true reaction when she comes face to face with the woman Hung is trying to protect. Stay tuned to see how everything unfolds. And don't forget to comment your predictions. Is Hung's mother truly remorseful, or is she just playing the victim? Morning at the rural market had just settled down. The crowd was gone, the shouting had faded, leaving only a few people gathering up leftovers and the clattering of wooden carts rolling past. A breeze from the rice fields drifted in, carrying the fresh scent of young green grains mixed with the warm earth still holding the night's dew, creating that unmistakable fragrance of a countryside morning. Hoai Ca sat beside the basket of vegetables she'd just sold, leaning over to tidy each bundle of scallions, each eggplant, each sweet potato. Her fingertips were still smudged with soil, a few strands of hair clinging to her temple from sweat, but her face held a quiet satisfaction. Business was better today, and every customer had been pleasant. No haggling, no fuss. From the dirt path on the far side of the market, the familiar sound of a motorbike cut through the calm. Hoai Ca didn't even need to look to know who it was. Hung pulled up, braking with a sharp little skid that kicked up a small swirl of dust around the wheel. He put the bike on its stand neatly and walked over, looking casual, though his eyes had clearly been on Hoai Ca long before he reached her stall. "Done yet? I'll take you home," he said, sounding completely nonchalant, except his gaze wasn't nonchalant at all. Hoai Ca stood up, dusting off her skirt with a soft, natural motion. "Almost. So many customers today." Hung bent down to help gather the empty baskets, his hands moving fast like he'd done this 100 times. "People go early, you know. Gotta buy stuff for lunch," he added, sounding exactly like some early morning family news announcer. Hoai Ca handed him the basket of sweet potatoes, smiling with a teasing curve of her lips. "You sound like an old man, you know that?" Hung shot her a sideways look, raising an eyebrow playfully. "Well, I'm picking up my future wife from the market. Gotta act serious, right?" The line dropped so lightly, yet it made Hoai Ca freeze for half a second. Her face flushed, whether from the sun or from him. It was impossible to tell. Both of them laughed, soft, natural, effortless. The air around them seemed to warm instantly, gentle and calm, enough that a few people passing by glanced over and smiled without meaning to. Seeing them like that, anyone would have thought they were a young couple enjoying a simple, peaceful life in the morning market. The market was packed that morning. Voices, laughter, bargaining, and the sound of children running between the stalls all blended into one noisy, but strangely joyful melody. The fabric stalls, the fruit stands, the dried goods vendors, every section was bustling. Hoai Ca carried Tony as she walked along the crowded aisle. The little boy leaned against her shoulder, his eyes wide open, taking in the explosion of colors like a child seeing the world for the first time. He pointed at the balloons hanging high above, then swung his tiny arms toward the basket of bright golden oranges, as if he wanted to touch them. Hung walked right beside them, raising his hand to block the sun for the two whenever they passed an open patch without shade. The morning sun wasn't harsh, but he did it instinctively, a small, simple gesture, yet deeply natural. When they passed a stall selling warm clothes, Hung stopped in front of a rack full of fleece and wool sweaters. "How about we buy Mother Ha a new warm jacket?" His voice was low but firm. "It's cold at home, and she gets up early to tend the garden." Hoai Ca followed his gaze and nodded immediately. She set Tony down on a small chair beside the stall and began sorting through the clothes. Her fingers brushed over the fabric, checking the thickness and softness before holding each piece up to get a better look. Hung stood beside her, arms crossed, watching carefully, pointing out a few he thought would suit her. "She likes darker colors. They don't get dirty as fast. Take this one, it fits her." His quiet thoughtfulness made the vendor laugh. "Wow, you're surprisingly good at picking clothes for a man." Hung only chuckled, while Hoai Ca blushed a little on his behalf. In the end, they chose 2 warm outfits. A thick fleece set for her to wear at home. A lighter, comfier one for her early mornings in the garden. Hoai Ca held the bag of clothes in her hands, her expression softening. "I wonder if they'll fit her." Then she smiled. "She's probably feeding the chickens or weeding the garden right now." Hung nodded, his voice slow but full of gratitude. "She does a lot for us. Takes care of Tony, takes care of the house, everything. Buying her something warm to wear is the least we can do." The sunlight had turned golden by then, spilling gently over the market path. Hoai Ca tightened her grip on the bag, warmth blooming from her palms all the way to her chest. Not because of the clothes, but because of that feeling of family, simple, peaceful, and whole. Walking past the small electronics shop at the corner of the market, Hung suddenly slowed down and hit the brakes. The shop was tiny, but packed from front to back. Rice cookers stacked in boxes, shiny new electric stoves, metal-caged fans whirring as the owner tested them, neon lights reflecting off the shelves and making the whole place glow. Hung stopped in front of the entrance, glanced at Hoai Ca, then looked at the rice cookers lined up on the rack. There was something in his eyes, a bit of thought, a bit of quiet resolve that she hadn't yet understood. "You're always cooking on the wood stove." "It's tiring," he said slowly. His voice wasn't loud, but it was firm, unmistakably serious. "I'm buying an electric rice cooker." Hoai Ca froze for a second, thinking he was joking, but his expression told her he was dead serious. She quickly shook her head, waving her hands. "No, don't. It's too expensive. We still have so much to take care of." "I'm fine, it's not a big deal." But Hung didn't let her finish even half a sentence. He turned to her, looking straight at her, his voice firm but warm in that very unmistakably manly way. "It's not expensive." Then he added, slow but steady, "With a baby in the house, we need convenience. Burning wood all day, the smoke gets to Tony. You can handle it, but kids can't." Just one sentence, and Hoai Ca fell quiet. Not because she was forced, but because she knew he was right. Food cooked on a wood stove tasted great, but it was tiring and smoky. Tony was still small, his lungs delicate. She had worried too, but she kept trying to save money. The shop owner noticed them and came out quickly, taking down a brand new rice cooker, opening the lid, pressing the buttons to show how it worked. Tony, who was now in Hung's arms, tapped his tiny hand against the box as if he were approving the purchase. Each tap made Hoai Ca laugh, while Hung raised an eyebrow. "See? Even our son agrees." After buying it, the 3 of them headed home. As soon as they stepped inside, Hoai Ca started packing Tony's things for the trip. She spread the bag on the bed and arranged his warm clothes, baby towels, water bottle, tiny food container, every item folded square and neat, as if she was afraid of forgetting even one thing. Tony crawled around her legs, flipping his little sandals, occasionally hugging her calf to ask to be picked up. Hung leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, watching the two of them. His eyes never left Hoai Ca, not even once, as if he was memorizing every little movement she made. While zipping up the backpack, Hoai Ca turned to him. "You don't have to take us. Tony and I will ride the coach, it's warmer. The weather's cold, going by motorbike isn't good." Her voice was gentle, but there was clear consideration in it. She didn't want him running back and forth when he still had work. Hung frowned, concern showing plainly across his face. "Let me take you. It's safer." "No need," Hoai Ca smiled softly, calm as always. "You still have things to do. I can manage, it's fine." She put a jacket on Tony, pulled the hood over his head, then lifted the backpack onto her shoulder. Tony realized they were leaving and started waving his hands excitedly, babbling happily. Hung stood there with the look of someone who wanted to say more, but didn't want to push. He exhaled lightly, then finally nodded, his voice low but steady. "Call me when you get there. Don't stay silent." Hoai Ca nodded, her smile small but warm. In the little house, a chill drifted in from the doorway, but between them was a warmth that filled the room without needing any stove at all. Right after Hoai Ca left home to take Tony to the city for school registration, the small peaceful house slipped back into its familiar quiet. Morning silence in the countryside has its own kind of stillness, not empty, but gentle. The lazy tapping of the tin roof in the wind, the soft rustling of leaves in the yard, as if someone were quietly tidying up. Hung didn't stay long either. Before leaving, he placed the new warm clothes he'd bought on the table, told Mother Ha to try them on later, then locked the door and rode off to the station to prepare for tomorrow's shift. His figure disappeared behind the bamboo grove at the entrance of the lane, the motorcycle sound fading away, leaving only the faint smell of wood smoke drifting in the front yard. And right at that moment, as if fate had gently tugged a string, Hung's mother appeared. She walked slowly, very slowly, as though afraid her footsteps might shake something fragile inside her chest. Her hands clutched an old faded cloth basket, its edges frayed with age. Inside were the cakes she had stayed up all night to make, the sticky rice still fragrant, the sesame still warm, carrying the lingering warmth of the one who made them, like an apology she didn't know how to speak aloud. She had thought that if she happened to meet Hung today, she would give them to him herself. Tell him she still remembered. Tell him she still loved him. But she didn't know he had left early, unaware that his mother was returning, timidly, as if afraid to disturb the life he now had. With Hoai Ca gone, only Mother Ha was home, gathering the last leftover bundles of vegetables. She heard footsteps outside and looked up to see a woman standing at the gate. The slanting sunlight made the woman's figure look small, lonely against the wide brickyard. Mother Ha set down the basket and hurried to open the gate. "Are you looking for Hoai Ca? She just left for the city with the little one." Hung's mother stood there, her shoulders trembling. She nodded, eyes darting away, unable to hold anyone's gaze for long. I only came to look at the house, to see how they're living now. I don't dare meet my son yet." Her voice rose and fell, like something was lodged in her throat, one deep breath away from breaking into tears. Mother Ha invited her inside. The two women sat at the old wooden table, its surface still stained with morning tea. In front of them were only a warm kettle and the tray of cakes she had brought. She stared at them, each one made after a sleepless night, and her heart tightened. Cakes meant for her son, yet now placed in front of a stranger. She clasped her hands together so tightly her nails dug into her skin, yet she didn't even notice. "I hurt my son too much," she whispered, her voice thin as paper. "For years. I haven't dared to look at him. I miss him so much it makes me sick, but I never had the courage to appear. Each word trembled, as if touching an old wound. Mother Ha listened silently. She didn't interrupt, didn't judge, just let the woman release what she had carried for far too long. After a while, Mother Ha finally spoke, her voice warm and low, like someone pulling another up from the edge. Children get angry because they're hurt, but they don't abandon their mothers. Just take one step at a time. One day you'll be able to stand at the door without shaking. A simple sentence, yet heavy enough to make hearts tighten. Hung's mother wiped her tears quickly, her voice breaking. I'm trying to buy back the old house. The one I foolishly pawned years ago. The owners want 800 million. I haven't gathered enough yet. She lowered her head, shoulders trembling harder. If I can get the house back, then I can face him. Give him a place to return to. So he knows. I'm not a mother who abandoned her child. Mother Ha placed her hand gently over hers, a small squeeze, filled with the understanding of someone who knew too well what loneliness felt like. Just do it little by little. As long as your heart wants to mend things, the day of reunion will come. In the small kitchen, there was no one else. Just two mothers. One carrying the wounds of half a lifetime. One knowing the pain of watching someone she loves from afar, too afraid to step closer. Outside, the wind brushed along the tin roof, making soft tapping sounds. As if signaling that time was slowly shifting, waiting for the day when children return and mothers finally gather enough courage to face them without fear. Evening grew colder. The last winds of the day swept across the distant fields, carrying a chill that slipped quietly into the small yard. Hung's mother stood there, silent in the fading light, her eyes fixed on Hoai Ca's house, the place her son once entered and left with so many tangled joys and sorrows. She stared at the house for a long time. In the dim, wavering dusk, everything before her seemed blurred, and within those trembling outlines, she saw the faint image of little Hung. A child running across the yard, face smudged with dirt yet smiling bright as the midday sun. Memories rushed back, warm and painfully sweet. She took half a step forward, then stopped. She didn't dare go any closer. She didn't dare let Hung see her yet, not when her heart was still full of guilt, not when she herself wasn't ready to face the child she had lost for half a lifetime. She turned away, but her eyes still clung to the small roofed house. Every second she stood there, her heart tightened once more. But in that trembling uncertainty, something became clearer than ever. A resolve she never thought she would have after all these years. She must reclaim the old house. She had to rebuild a home, the home she had once lost because of one terrible mistake. She had to mend what she had broken and Hung. She had to do what was right before it was too late. She clenched her sleeves, her breath turning into pale mist in the cold. If I can buy back the house, my son will have a place to return to, she whispered to herself. Then we'll have a chance to face each other, to say everything left unsaid, and maybe he'll forgive me. But she knew, the road back to the hearts of Hung and Hoai Ca would not be easy. An apology might not be enough for the years she failed to give her son the love he needed. Still, she held on tightly to that fragile glimmer of hope. Was she truly repentant? Could Hung and Hoai Ca open their hearts enough to forgive? Or would everything take a completely different turn? Stay tuned for the next episodes to see what awaits them ahead.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người video tiếp theo về câu chuyện của đây là câu chuyện của Lý Hoai Ca và Hùng nha mọi người. Ở đây ở chỗ mình thì đang bắt đầu đổi khí hậu á mọi người, nó chuyển sang một mùa khác. Như ở những nơi khác thì nó sẽ gọi là mùa đông. Thì ở cái khu vực mình sống thì cái khí hậu nó chủ yếu thì xuân hạ thu đông thì nó sẽ không được rõ ràng, nhưng mà nó sẽ có hai mùa rõ rệt, đó là mùa khô và mùa mưa. Mùa khô thì nghe cái tên là mọi người cũng đã biết là nó sẽ khô, khí hậu nó sẽ khô hanh và nó còn thêm gió mùa nữa, hay còn gọi là gió Lào đó, là gió Tây Nam thì nó sẽ thổi cái khí hậu khô về. Mới đầu thì nó sẽ kèm thêm một tí hơi lạnh, nhưng mà về sau thì nó sẽ khá là nóng. Và một mùa nữa là mùa mưa, đó là mùa mưa lũ, thì nó thường sẽ rơi từ khoảng tháng 7 đến tháng 12. Còn mùa còn lại là mùa khô nha mọi người. Khí hậu ở chỗ mọi người thế nào hãy cho mình biết nhé.